Hey, everybody. We are back with our Black Voices Matter segment here on the Choosing Inclusion podcast. As always, I am joined by Nina and Mike. How are you guys doing?
All right. How's everyone?
Doing okay. Excited for this conversation.
Yeah, me too. So Anthony Josey, he's a technology specialist at Nasdaq in New York City. I came across a post on LinkedIn by a mutual friend of ours, Karen Fleshman, who was posting about Anthony and his participation in the early protests in Central Park in New York City. And I just thought, man, I want to listen to someone like Anthony. And so, Anthony, first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you for, trusting us to do this with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And for the record, I just want to clear up what Karen said. It wasn't in Central Park. It was actually in Times Square. So
okay.
we staged it in Times Square, and of course I was angry. I was frustrated. I was acting with George Floyd, a modern day lynching. To see that on air, even in 2020, is just really horrendous. And I was angry. I was frustrated. But I didn't have the energy, nor did I want to cause like a riot and be like bleep the police and just assault officers and shoot officers and tear up and start looting and stuff like that. That's the wrong way to go. That's been going on with the Watts riots and even before that in the 60s. So obviously that's not the way to go. So I felt that one way that I can express my anger in my voice was through visual arts. So what I did was I planned and organized a peaceful artistic protest where people from all over that I know of that are artistic in their own right, that do poetry, that do rapping, that do singing, that does interpretive dance, and spoken word can converge together and really let their voices be heard through that outlet instead of doing it like the other way as we see on media being portrayed. And we did that there. We did some demonstrations, as you can see in pictures, and we talked about the elephant in the room, about racial inequality, and how basically white America needs to wake up and see that this is a systemic problem that's been going on for generations and generations. And then from there, we walked from there down to 34th Street and back up to Times Square. And then from there, that was it. It was a good turnout. It was like a one and done thing for me because of my underlying conditions. I had open heart surgery, so I can't really be out there in the midst of the crowd doing the whole coronavirus like that as well. So, it was also for my health. I just felt like I could do it once and really let my voice be heard. And it's been crazy ever since. My phone hasn't been stopped ringing, and people haven't stopped hitting me up like you guys, which I really appreciate. And I'm just ready to just talk about the elephant in the room and what we all can do to change it.
And that's incredibly powerful. I'm actually looking at the picture right now on LinkedIn that Karen Fleshman had posted, and it definitely hits you right in the heart when you look at that photo. It's a flood of emotions looking at that. And so I think it's interesting that you said that you gathered a group of artists and folks to do this. I mean, what is your impression about how the media has been portraying everything and why you felt the need for artists and your community to come together to do this differently?
Well, I think the media whitewashes it because it's like you look at this. What you do is what people should do. They should take two TVs and put them next to each other, right? One TV saying about what people of color are doing in terms of writing and looting and all that stuff, right? Then take another TV and look at Stanley Cup final victory and see what they do. So we're labeled as thugs and animals and all this stuff. And we get tear gas thrown on us and shot at us. But then you see a Stanley Cup final win and you see the same type of people tearing up the town. Oh, they're just celebrating. They're just expressing their emotions. So it's double standard. Another way, even in sports, Colin Kaepernick, he took a knee. What everybody's doing now across the world is taking a knee to take a stand against social injustice and police brutality. And an Army veteran asked him to do that. It wasn't under his own will. He wanted to find out a way that can be respectful to the flag as well as to the soldiers who fought for it. And the soldier himself says, you know what, kneeling on one knee will help. And that's what he done. They blackballed him from the NFL. Now everybody's doing it. And people like LeBron James, they talk about social injustice and racial inequality and police brutality. We're told to shut up and dribble. Meanwhile, Drew Brees expresses how people shouldn't be kneeling. He doesn't kneel for the flag, and he dislikes people that does it. And he's expressing his creative right. So, like I said, it's a double standard everywhere we go, and that's why people, or at least my generation, are fed up with it. Because I come from a three-generational household where I had to listen to my grandmother talk about the civil rights era, and listen to my great uncle, you know, having to pick up guns and take up arms just to fight off, you know, people that tried to take advantage over his rights. And this is a guy that came from the Vietnam War to still come back to injustice in the community, and it's not right. And then to hear my mom, you know, protesting what's going on with police brutality back in the 80s, and then in the early 90s, and now we going through it. So it's disheartening, and people are frustrated. My generation is frustrated, so that's why they are acting the way they're acting. Because if you guys are old enough to remember, same thing happened in 91, 92. Same thing happened in 1963 with the Ross riots. So it's like it's a never-ending cycle, and it shouldn't be like that.
So, Anthony, this is Mike Cass again, and again thank you for coming on. So you were, I mean, you got a very technical job at a fairly well-known brand. I'd love to know, you know, what is that organization? What are the conversations like, you know, in New York City with a brand like yours that you're working with? I'd love to hear some of that.
Great. Well, I'm gonna speak this for the record. Nasdaq is it's a great company, and I'm not just saying that as a cliche. I'm not saying that to be pro Nasdaq. No, at the end of the day, I'm a contractor, still working, you know, supporting Nasdaq. I'm not a full-time employee yet, but I've been there for almost 2 years, and the only reason why I'm there is because I feel like family. It makes me feel welcomed, you know, from a diversity standpoint. And one thing I love about Nasdaq is that, you know, our CEO, Dina Friedman, she fights so hard for diversity, inclusion, and for, you know, having our voices heard in the city community as well as African Americans. So we have what's called we have a lot of what's the thing that we called again? We have groups. I'm gonna just say groups, like groups for each thing. So for example, we have a group called Globe, and it's basically putting emphasis on African Americans, you know, working at Nasdaq, and then they have stuff for people that are in Asian Pacific.
Oh yeah, like
have
employee resource groups.
There you go. Employee networks. That was it.
Yeah,
that's the word.
Yeah.
Employee networks. So Nasdaq has employee networks, stuff for LGBTQ, stuff for veterans, stuff for African Americans, stuff for people that are from Asia Pacific, and for women in Nasdaq. So it's a really, really diverse company, which I'm really am grateful for. And you know, I already knew prior to this, Nasdaq really stood out to me to represent, you know, African Americans and diversity within corporate America. Now, I'm just saying they represent a whole and different groups, as I just mentioned, but I'm gonna just put emphasis on African Americans since we're speaking about what's going on right now. So and the employee networks have really reached out to us as individuals to see what we can do better, and what the company can do better in terms of making more of a footprint in the corporate realm within diversity, which I love a lot. So even before the whole George Floyd incident, they was really, really bringing about change, and they just ramped up even more after this. You know, I know some companies, you know, put out statements to save face. Nasdaq put out you know, just a loving, warm, sincere, heartfelt appreciation for African Americans in the workforce within Nasdaq, and it's just I'm really grateful to be there. That's why I'm still there, honestly, because if I didn't feel connected to the company, and this is in general, if I don't feel connected to the company from an employee network standpoint, then I'm not going to be there, because at the end of the day, I want to work at a company that can be there for 20 plus years and continue to grow and increase and continue to feel, loved, because corporations should have that, and should have that for more employees. They should embrace the culture. They should learn more about the culture, and they should do whatever they can to help level the culture. And Nasdaq is on the forefront in doing that.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love that, because it's, do you think, because I think we've all seen major organizations, major brands like Nasdaq come out with those statements, like you said, and we've talked a lot about how a lot of those are to save face, or they're just performative, and what's really going on, what's the action. But do you think, what do you I mean, do you see this time as different than, let's say 91 or other times before? What do you think it's different, and why, if so?
I think, well, I'm two-sided about this, and this is another reason why I stopped. I only did that protest once, and that was it, because, and this is sad to say, but from African Americans, we've seen this over and over again. We've seen, people jump on and not saying you guys, but in general, we've seen people jump on the bandwagon and say, "Oh, Black Lives Matter." We're for that. We feel that, and we're going to do more and do more, and then like 5 months later, something, they just go back to their regular selves. 5 months later, they start clutching their purse. 5 months later, we still being treated, with inequality. 5 months later, all the ads and all the stuff is done. So that's why I'm looking at it from a half-filled glass, because it's like, yes, this is good. I'm so happy. White America and suburbia America and corporate America is actually opening their minds and their eyes to what we've been trying to show them for decades. And I'm glad that there's changing happening within our legislative branches, our branches of government, as well as in corporations and small businesses as well too. However, I know some of them are just doing it just to save face, because the black dollar is mighty powerful. Studies show that the black consumer market consists of $1.2 trillion. So to lose that demographic is mighty hard. Popeye's chicken owner is not black, yet they have a lot of African American advertisers to advertise Popeye's chicken to black consumers, and black consumers line up around Popeye's. Case in point, the chicken sandwich. People got stabbed over the chicken sandwich. And it's just literally just a sandwich. It's just chicken. It's not really like nothing special about it. But yet the way it was marketed to black consumers, it caused for an uptake in their business sales. So that's the way I see it. I see it like, I'm grateful for changes happening now, and I pray that it continues to be changing within all facets of business life. But to say that I'm hopeful, I'm a little bit hopeful, but I'm also doubtful, because I want to see what's going to happen during the holiday time. Because the news travels in cycles. Yes, right now the news is showing the Black Lives Matter movements and marches across the globe, and everything about George Floyd, what he did, and stuff like that. But I want to see what happens a few months later, because right now, as you know, we're in an election year. So I want to see real change happen. I do, but I know some companies are just doing it just to save face.
Well, yeah. So I think one of the things that we're hearing from a lot of folks right now is like, what can we do? What as individuals, what would you like to see happen? And as organizations, companies, communities, what needs to happen so that isn't just another thing that passes in the history books and no action is taken? Like, how can we make it different this time?
Educating. Education is key. Um, from Jane Elliott, she says that from the ages of 5 to 17, American education is indoctrinating kids. They're not institutionalizing, they're not teaching, they're indoctrinating. So because they want to teach only the history that makes them happy, not history that's actually happening or that happened. There's so many people, like a lot of young white kids now, are learning so much about African American history within America than they learned in schools throughout their whole life. And the reason why they want to keep that away from them is because they don't want to see African Americans be the majority. And the way I see it, it's and this might sound controversial, but it's not about black and white. It's about love altogether. At the end of the day, love is all that matters. When I was doing a protest, and I seen an African American lady, she's a elderly one, and I seen a white dude, he was elderly as well too, and they just so happened to stand next to each other, and they didn't notice it. I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, if you cut and you bleed, what color do you bleed?" She says red. I asked the gentleman next to him, I said, if you get cut and you bleed, what color do you bleed? He said red. I said, okay, we're all one on the inside. Why is there a difference on the outside? And that's how people need to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
We all bleed the same color. Once we all go and die, we all die the same. We end up in the casket or in the furnace and we just go off. We all have bones. We're the same exoskeleton structures between a man and a woman. So it's like, why do I'm not saying institutions, but why are some institutions teaching hate or teaching dislike for one another? I've seen a clip on TikTok that went viral. There was this young white girl. She was talking to her parents, and she was asking them, "Why do you guys dislike black people so much?" And she recorded the parents talking, and they was labeling us so bad, ghetto and violent and thugs and all that stuff. And I'm like, you guys have no idea. There's
I'm a sorry.
good.
Well, I was just like, and I said this from day one because I saw somebody use the word thugs in relation to the protests, and words matter. Like it's more
Yeah,
than anything, you know. You're spot on. That's awesome.
I come from poverty. I come from low income housing. I come from a generation of poor people, of poorness, and having to rely on government for assistance. I broke that barrier by working in corporate America. I'm not just doing it just for myself. No, like I'm closing the opportunity divide. That's what Gear Up does as well too. That's where Karen came from. That's how I met Karen. And she keep on saying that I changed her life, and I'm like, I'm a very humble person. I don't think I changed her life. She actually helped me as well too. She helped me realize that, yo, listen, the media want to portray all these lies, and it's not about black and white. I shouldn't dislike you just because of your color. Don't judge me by my color, judge me by my character. Now, if I act thug like and I'm always raunchy and loud and boisterous and just turn up the place, then yes, label me as a thug. But for you to just look at me just because I'm 5'10" and I'm wearing a hoodie and I'm walking around with my hands in my pockets and I'm automatically a thug is preposterous. I'm a very educated black nerd. I'm actually taking courses at Yale right now. So, to be judged by that, it really hurts. And even though I work for Nasdaq down there on Wall Street, I still have to come home to the same tactics that police use on a lot of African American men. It sucks, but I feel change needs to happen all around. And one way that you guys can learn is just have an open dialogue conversation about it. That's it. You want to know? They're gonna tell you what to do, what you should learn. You're gonna give you the backstories and stuff, and really open your eyes to systemic racism. But that's if you really want to know. Because some people, like I said, doing it just to save face. If you really want to know how to change or what you guys can do, we'll tell you. Not a problem.
What's it been like in New York? I mean, you're kind of in ground zero when it comes to where COVID was hitting the worst. So
Yeah,
what has it been like over there?
yeah. I got one even worse. So I live in Queens, Long Island City, and a few weeks ago, the ground zero of it was in Elmhurst, which is not too far from me. It's about like 20 minute ride from me. And I used to go to that hospital growing up, Elmhurst Hospital. That was the ground zero within the ground zero of New York. So people were dropping like flies, and I was just stuck in the house. I didn't really want to do anything like go outside and stuff because my mom, she has a lot of underlying issues. So I didn't want it to, God forbid, I catch it and then I come back into the house and she catches it and she passes on. So I wasn't afraid. I was in the house. I still work from home, thank God. But to see it on the news every day, like one day 100 people die, one day 200 people die. It was very unfortunate and sad. And it was also sad to see a lot of minorities pass away due to that as well too. And it's not just, it is healthcare's fault that we don't even get proper healthcare within the same rights as the next person. But it's also, our fault as well too, because we go for the fast food, we go for the alcoholic beverages all the time. We go for all that stuff. We don't exercise. So I'm not gonna say it's all society's fault. However, if you come to my neighborhood, you'll see literally across the street. This is crazy. This is how it's set up. Literally across the street, you got a liquor store, chicken cash place, deli store, chicken spot. And then you go up the block, another deli store, Chinese store, deli store. That's that. There is no Whole Foods at all.
Mhm.
There's no banks at all. You have to walk down 10 blocks to get to a bank. You have to walk 10 blocks up a hill into a neighborhood full of condominiums you can't afford to get to a Chase Bank. So, it's crazy. It really is crazy. Society set us up to fail, and it sucks. It really does.
With all of that going on though, Anthony, like what I'm like you're still an individual who doesn't like, okay, so you have the cards, and again, this comes from, I was born blind, and I don't know the sting of racial injustice, but I felt the sting of being discriminated against a time or two in my lifetime, and yet you have the same spirit that I feel like I share. That is like, okay, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm not going to be held down. I am going to make a change. I'm going to be a change agent. And that's what I'm hearing from you. It's like saying, okay, here are my cards I've been dealt, but I'm not done playing the game. I'm far from over. And that's the spirit I'm really enjoying hearing from you though, Anthony.
That's the spirit I feel everybody should have. Even from your perspective, God bless you. You could have been the type that said, you know what, I'm gonna just quit life. I'm blind. I can't see the beauty of the world. I can't see, fireworks going on during Independence Day or New Year's Eve. I can't see, a lovely wife or a lovely husband, to what you choose. I can't see things like that, but I can feel it. But it, to be in that predicament, it's like you will want to quit. You will want to quit. But even from you and your strength, you persevered, you worked through it, and you just use the things that God gave you to make a voice of yourself and to make it better for a community. You have the spirit, you have that light to shine darkness in a lot of people that are handicapped within the community. And I know you can do it as well too, because you have that drive and you have that push to do so. I mean, look at you. You have a podcast and you're doing it. So I always look to inspiration, you know, to help me drive to become a better person. One of my inspirations is my mom. You know, besides God, that's the foundation, but God and to Jesus Christ. But my mom is inspiration. You know, she's inspired me of things what I shouldn't do. You know, so I can be better off, and that's how it should be. It's always be passed down. You know, you want to see somebody better than what you've done. You know, like, for example, I have a little brother. I want him to be better than me and what I've done. And he's doing a good job at it right now too. But it's just you have to find, and this goes to anybody who feels like they want to give up on life, you know, because I've been there too. You have to find that one little stretch of light and pull it as hard as you can so it can become the sun to shine on you for a better future.
I can't think of a better way to end that. I mean, I love it. Yeah, I'm with Mike. You have this amazing energy and this positivity that yeah, is just, it gives me hope to hear people like you, to listen to people like you. So thank you, Anthony, for, you know, your vulnerability and for being a part of this with us and for trusting us. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Anthony.
Always. And thank you all again for listening. You know, please keep checking in, check the website, chooseinclusion.com. We'll keep updating the schedule, and we're going to keep bringing these Black voices to the forefront as much as possible for the foreseeable future. So stick with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you,
Can I also do
Nina and
a
Mike.
shout out?
Yeah, please.
Yes. Okay. So I just want to shout out. If you want to see more of those pictures that I've taken from the protest, I'm also a photographer as well too. And the only reason why I brought those artistic people there is because I'm also I'm a poet and a songwriter, and I also do photography. So to see more of those pictures and stuff, or if you just want to follow me, or if you need any photos done or videos done, you can follow me on my Instagram at Genius World Photos. That's GeniusWorldPhotos. Genius World Photos. And send me a friend request, and I'll be more than willing to assist if you like the pictures. And if you want to get some framed, I'll be more than willing to frame that picture too.
Awesome. I just put that in the notes on the YouTube channel. It'll show up on our website. So awesome. Yeah. Support Anthony, everybody. Thank you again, man. This was so great.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
all very much.
Oh,
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.
Take care, everyone.